It is vacation. I am so excited, and I'm gonna tell you how I use my planner to get ready for travel. Okay, let me start with my first tip. You may notice that this is my old plum planner, and I love this planner. Now, if I stop using a planner and I start using a different one, I don't throw my old one away. I like to keep it in case there's a reason for it. And this planner with my to-do list, now you remember I customized this. I put to-do lists in the back, and so you get back and front 4 lists on each page. This is the perfect way to get ready to travel. So let me show you what I'm doing here. It is so broken down. Let me back up for a minute and tell you about this trip. Typically when I have traveled, I take super short trips just because, and I've done this pretty much my whole life, work, and now I have a child, and there's just always so much going on, and it's easier sometimes to just be away for a long weekend, or you take off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you're off Saturday, Sunday, so 5 days. This time we are going away for 9 days. We are gonna be away for 9 days, which is crazy. We're gonna be 4 days on the road. We're doing a road trip up the East Coast, Florida to Maryland, and then we're gonna spend 5 days in Maryland, and then we're gonna fly back. We are renting a car. It's me, my husband, my daughter, and my mother-in-law. We're driving up 4 days. We have different spots planned out. We have plans for when we're in Maryland. That's where we're from originally. And we are gonna spend time there, and then we're gonna come home. So I am genuinely so excited to be away for 9 days to kind of just like check out and turn my brain off. But I'm also like a little bit nervous, if I'm being honest, because being away for 9 days out of your routine, like with not your normal, your bed, your laundry, your food, just all of the things. I'm trying to be mindful in how I pack, that I don't overpack, but also recognizing that this is not a 3-day trip. We are going away for over a week. So I have started my packing list, and here is how I'm doing this. Like I said, we're gonna be on the road for quite a bit. So I made a list here. The first one was cooler, right? So we're gonna be stopping in St. Augustine, and then we're spending the night in Savannah the first night, and then we're gonna be in South Carolina for the second night, and then Roanoke, Virginia for the third night. So we are gonna just be like 1,000 miles, maybe a little bit more up the coast. And I say coast, I really mean like we're on the East Coast, but we're not driving up 95. So I'm excited to see mountains. If you live in Florida, you know how flat everything is, but like I said, we are gonna be in the car a lot. So we have a cooler category. The next thing we have is the snack bag category. Okay, you're talking a lot about food, but I think it's important to have your cooler items, your snack bag items, so you have food for the road. Of course, there are plenty of places to stop, but it is nice to make sure that you have stuff as you're traveling. Now, I like to also have a miscellaneous section, and the reason why is because there are little things that you can bring with you that will help make things a lot easier. So for example, I'm thinking about this right now, but the morning of, I probably wouldn't remember, but I wanna bring plastic baggies and some plastic utensils in case we're driving and my 5-year-old, who is wonderful, but also loves her routine, is like, it is lunch and I don't wanna push that. I have plastic utensils, I have peanut butter in the car and bread, I can make her a quick sandwich, right? So those are little things where you're like, in theory, I know that I will want to make my child a sandwich, right? Or have snacks, but what if I don't have a plastic knife, right? So the miscellaneous category is really important. The other thing that's really important is that I am starting this right now 6 days before we leave. So the reason why is because if you do this 2 days before you leave, it's a little bit more frantic. I have certainly packed an hour before leaving for the airport before. But because this is such a long trip, I'm trying not to be a disaster. I feel like some people, I've mentioned this, I think in another video, think that because I like planners, I'm like organized and I'm always like put together, and that just couldn't be further from the truth, especially with travel. A lot of times I'm like, whatever, let me just throw it in my bag. There is probably some store where I'm going when I get there that if I forgot something, it's not the end of the world. And that is not a bad mentality to have because you don't overpack, but at the same time, sometimes you do because you're just tossing things in. But at the same time, it can be just a little bit all over the place. I like this because I'm starting it now. So as I remember things tomorrow, I can keep adding to my list. It gives me time to remember as I'm using things. Oh, I need to pack a plastic knife, right? So these are the first 3 categories: cooler, snack bag, and miscellaneous. The next is things that I need for my child. Now, here's the thing about this. I'm not talking about shoes and clothes. I'm talking about how she, like I said, loves her routine. So we have certain sleeping things that we need. And I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to be in a hotel for 3 nights and then at my in-laws for 5 nights. So that's 8 nights of her away from her house and her own bed. So there are certain things that I want to make sure that I don't forget. So I'm making sure to start this list now so that as I think of things, we're not going to forget her sound machine, her blackout curtains, all of those things that keep her comfortable and sleeping. You know the whole thing after you get married, they say happy wife, happy life. I feel like there needs to be some rhyme they make about when everyone is sleeping. I don't have one off the top of my head, so if you come up with one and leave it in the comments, I will, I'm sure, crack up at it because it's just true. Everybody is better when you're sleeping. So I have a list that I'm starting for her right here of, again, not the clothing, but the logistics things that I need. So I just want to make sure I don't forget any of those. The next section is not a packing section, but it's an action item section. These are things that I don't want to forget before I go. So for example, I am waiting for some mail to come in and I will give my key to some family that's nearby just because I want to make sure that, 9 days we're gone, things aren't getting left outside in the rain, all of that. I don't order anything for when I'm gone, but there are just a few pieces of actual mail that I'm waiting on. So I just want to remember those. And there are other little things like anything that, you don't want, clean out the fridge, things like that before you're gone for an extended period of time. I'm going to start an action item list. My first tip is don't be afraid to use an old planner because I think that is very helpful. In this case, this is the perfect outline and I'm sure I'll come up with a few other categories. And the next tip is to start this in advance because you just want to make sure you give yourself enough time. If you're going to be out of town, especially for an extended period of time, you want to make sure that you're organized. And my last tip for you is to make sure that you look at your calendar. Now, this is sort of the to-do list, the packing list, all of that, but look at your calendar. This is what I'm doing the week before and the week after. So sometimes I think that you're gone for a big chunk of time and you're like, okay, here's all the things I'm going to do before I go. Here's all the activities I have planned for when I get back. And if you can give yourself a little time to get settled back into your routine, get groceries, do your laundry, all of those things, it might sound simple, but we realize that we're leaving on a Friday and my husband and I have plans, either one of us or both of us, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Thursday we have to pick up the rental car and Friday we're going. I wouldn't say it's not ideal, it's just a little bit crazy, but what I'll say about it is I'm glad that it is almost a week before we know that, so that we did a ton of packing and groceries today. We got a bunch of snacks today, so they're all lined up in a pile. They're not packed yet, but we are at least starting. So I think looking at that week before so you know what you're going to be time-wise up against or not is really helpful to be able to plan the week before so you're not stressed that morning of. I feel like that helps maybe mitigate some arguments with whoever you're traveling with, so it helps you get yourself ready in a nice, calm way. Same thing for coming back. So I like to make sure that that day after I don't have any plans, especially with travel, you could be delayed and it's just kind of a chill, relaxing day if possible so that you're not super stressed as you're trying to, recover from 9 days. No matter how great vacation is, it's always good to come home. This is the outline of my list. I actually have a different version of this where I've started adding things, and it is remarkable truly the amount of snacks that I am planning on bringing. Now ask me afterwards if I actually ate out of the snack bag, my healthy items like my tuna packets and my bananas, or if my first time ever at Buc-ee's, which I'm very excited about, I just go completely crazy. I mean, I've never been there, but I heard there's a candy shop or something. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But anyway, you'll have to let me know if you use any of these tips when you pack or when you're getting ready for a trip, especially a longer one, or if you have any additional ones that I missed. I always like to hear from you all. So thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.